from this book right here, Volume 2. We're at Part 4, Story 5, Face to Face with God. That's what it says. That night there was much sadness and fear in the camp. The people had just buried their dead, and they were wondering what other punishment might come upon them because of their terrible sin of worshiping the golden calf. Not since Not since their last night in Egypt what had they seen so much death, and then it was the Egyptians who suffered. Now 3,000 of their own had been killed in one day, and who could tell how many more might have died? Moses was worried too, for God knew he was greatly displeased. In the morning he called the people together and said to them, Ye have sinned a great sin, and now I will go up unto the Lord. Peradventure I shall make an atonement for your sin. With a heavy heart he climbed Sinai again. As he entered the cloud and found himself in the presence of God, he cried out, Oh, this people have sinned a great sin. No illustration. And have made them gods of gold. Yet now, if thou wilt forgive their sins, and if not, blot me, I pray thee, out of thy book which thou hast written. One can almost hear the sob in his voice, the broken sentence, if thou wilt forgive their sin, tells how deep was the hurt in his heart. And when he said, Not if not, blot me, I pray thee, out of thy books, he was asking God to let him die instead of his people, offering himself as a sacrifice that they might live. Of course, God would never have let him do that, but he must have been pleased with the devotion of his faithful servant. Whosoever hath sinned against me, said God, him will I blot out of my books. For this moment, Moses must have wondered whether God was going to kill all the people for what they had done, but in his great mercy, he said, Go lead the people unto the place for which I have spoken unto thee. Behold, mine angel shall go before thee. So Israel would have another chance. And the Lord spake to Moses face to face, as a man speaks to a friend. This is not meant that that Moses, give me my mind straight. This does not mean that Moses actually saw the face of God. As God said to him once, Thou canst not see my face, for there shall no man see me and live. But it does mean that God and Moses were so very close to each other that they talked back and forth like very dear friends. I don't know, but the story goes that he put Moses in a rock that he was coming by, and he put his hand on him, and he on the rock, the cover, and he got to saw, and he saw God's back. That's the story I heard that he when God walked by, he protected him, and he saw his back, and that's just some theological stuff that we do, uh, that I've heard and everything. Okay, let me get back to the story. They were indeed so close and understood each other so well that Moses longed to see him. Oh, this is probably where it happens. Okay. Long to see him. I beseech thee, he once prayed, show me thy glory. And God replied, I will make all my goodness pass before thee, and I will proclaim the name of the Lord before thee. Moses wanted to know where and how this would happen, and God replied, while my glory passes by, I will put thee in the cleft of the rock, and I will cover thee with my hand. That's the story I heard. One day God said to him, be ready in the morning and come up unto Mount Sinai, and present thyself there to me on the top of the mount. And he was told to bring with him two tables of stone, just like those that he had broken, and God would write his law on them again. So early the next morning, Moses climbed the mountain once more, carrying the two tables of stone. And the Lord descended in a cloud and stood with him there, and proclaimed the name of the Lord. As he stood in the cleft of the rock, he felt God nearer and nearer. And as the Lord passed by, he heard a glorious voice saying, the Lord God, merciful and gracious, long-suffering and abundant in goodness and truth. And it's got a comma, but we need to see this little painting. Huh. I've been saying this well, it might be watercolor, but it looks a little different than the others. And that's what it looks like. Now let me get straight. It's a white. Pretty in pink. That's what it looks like. Okay. Let's go to the next page. Abundant in goodness and in truth, keeping mercies for thousands, forgiving iniquity and transgressions of sin, and there will be no means cleared the guilty, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children, and upon the children's children, and upon the third and to the fourth generation. Quite overcome, Moses did not try to see God as he had planned it, or even to get a glimpse of him. Instead, reverently he made haste and bowed his head towards the earth and worshiped. Like Moses, most boys and girls want to see the face of God, and it was a good and it is good that we should want to see him. But we cannot, not yet. Someday, if we are very good, we shall see his face. But not now, nor do we need to. It's enough to know that his that he is merciful, kind, and forgiving, and abundantly in goodness and truth. As the Apostle John once said, God is love, and because he is love, we can trust him fully, even though we cannot actually see him with our eyes. Just like Moses, we can feel him very close to us, face to face, as it were, his face against ours, as we walk together like dearest friends. And then it has another picture with the pretty little pink cloud on it. And Moses with a tablet. Pulls it in and out as it gets etched by God's fingers. Okay, that was part 4, story 5. I'll get ready to read the next one here in a bit, and I'll see you in a minute.